And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I apologize for cutting that duct tape short, but we have some StarCraft. We have some StarCraft for you, and we are getting into our second series of the tournament. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gressfarm, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing himself. It is the Blue Zerg player. It is DRG. Here we go. Again, exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket. The bracket is a little bit shorter today. It's a little bit smaller. A big reason for that, I'm pretty sure, is Masters Coliseum. Masters Coliseum is tonight and tomorrow night as well. So the finale of the Masters Coliseum is soon to be upon us, so I'm sure the players are just getting some rest, they're getting some sleep, they're getting ready here for the weekend of StarCraft. So again, I do not blame them whatsoever. Don't blame them for you know, having their priorities and making sure that they are well rested for the evening, especially because Masters Coliseum can go very late into the night for Korean players. So I'm sure they're just resting up for that. Meanwhile, there's no rest for some of these other players. Of course, you know, Dark and DRG, they are no longer in Masters Coliseum, so it makes sense, does make sense they would be here. Same can be said for Hero and Classic as well, as they're the big names tonight. No Terrans. The Terrans are in Masters Coliseum. Kior, Björn, Maru, they're all still competing in that major tournament tonight. So it makes sense for them not to be here. Gumiho as well. No, sorry, actually, I think Gumiho isn't. I think Gumiho didn't quite make it through. But all the other Terrans are. So if you're a Terran fan, I apologize. They are not here in KSL. Not yet, but they'll be here later on tonight for Masters Coliseum. So we got plenty of TVTs for you tonight. I should message some of my Terran casters and ask if they're available. Otherwise I'm gonna have to solo cast all the TVTs, papi. Smooch. Regardless, for now, hatch first. Hatch gas pool from both of our Zerg players here. We're getting towards our third bases as well. Everything's looking as it should. Everything is looking quite standard here so far in this ZvZ. Until now, we have Ling's going to be chipping away. Dark, he's cutting workers at 19. He did transfer some workers to the low ground to make it look like he was, of course, mining. Those were the gas mining workers. He is Ling flooding. Straight up, he's just banking up Lings back at home one way or another. Dark is looking to end the game across the map. He's scouting with these Lings, trying to make everything look normal. Bailey Nest is on the way. DRG is trying to scout, but the Queens are keeping him at bay. And DRG, he's making Lings of his own. DRG will have a defensive Bailey Nest as well. DRG is not droning. Dark, Giga all in here. Can he make this work? Can he pull this off? As the Lings are flooding across the map, trying to get us around on that hatchery. Banelings are on the way. We're rolling off as well. DRG, he can afford to lose his third. He can just cancel. And he may be forced to cancel. As the Queens are moving forward, getting a lot of damage done. Oh, we do barely cancel in time. The Banelings have arrived, and DRG is holding. And Dark has a lot of catching up to do. I'm sure he was hoping to catch DRG droning, but Dark, he's down heavily in workers. He's up a base, but he needs more than just a base. So he bypasses the army. He goes all the way into the natural. He's gonna get the queen. Oh, he needs more though. He goes into the main base as well. Gonna try to trade as efficiently as possible. Gets us around on the queen, but is being forced back. And Dark is being cleaned up. Again, Dark is up when it comes to lava. He did just drone a little bit. He droned up, he made one worker. Sorry, he made 2 drones, as well as a Bailey Nest that is on the way. So Dark trying to transition into Ling Bane. He's still all in. Dark still trying to catch his opponent. But as long as DRG doesn't throw away these Banelings, he should be okay. And Dark is going back to droning. He's going back to droning. He's still down in the economy, down in workers. DRG has rebuilt his third. And Dark, he needs to get more done. Here we go. Bailings from the north. Dark trying to get on top of this third base once again. Up. Ooh. We end up trading here with the Bailings of his opponent. Dark going for the Larva even. Interesting choice. A little bit wasteful. A lot of Bailings just went down for Dark. You can see him trying to pick up whatever he can. Last to no avail. So far, good control from DRG. He is able to hold on. He maintains his worker lead. He is droning, saturating his third base. Likewise, so is Dark. Oh god! Ooh. All it takes is one, and we just got two. DRG takes two massive Bailings to the face. Dark needed that. Desperately needed something to go his way. As he's getting ready for a counterattack, forcing DRG back. Dark working on his Roach Warren. He's got his own defensive Bailings. Oh, looks like one of them was detonated prematurely. Oh, another one as well. Dark asleep at the wheel. Loses two Bailings for nothing. Another Bailing goes down. But DRG just doesn't have a lot working for him. Bailings, they try to roll in, but they connect with Queens. But the Queens are getting surrounded. DRG taking a good fight. He gets all the Queens. He's getting on top of the mineral line. Drones are going down, and this may just be too much. Two drones and two Queens. And again, DRG still maintains his economic lead. He's going for a lair. He's taking his gases. Dark has been scattered. Dark is going for a hatch tech all-in. Dark is making lings. He's making roaches. He's going to be sending everything across the map. He does not have the economy to go into a lair and get into upgrades and play from behind. Dark, it's all or nothing here. All or nothing for our Zerg player as the roaches are moving out. Meanwhile, the longer this goes on, the better it is for DRG. He's got upgrades. He's got +1 on the way. He's got roach speed on the way. He's got more gas mining, a higher drone count. The pressure is still on Dark. Roaches are getting surrounded. Bailing's doing a great job at zoning away Dark and connecting with the Lings. And DRG is holding strong. Meanwhile, Dark is droning. He's transitioning. This is all very late. A late lair, late Evo chamber, late +1, late gases. Dark is playing from behind. And this may just end here in a big +1 roach timing from DRG. It's his choice. He can either go for a +1 timing or for +2. He may try to go for a later timing, waiting for +2 range. As DRG is taking another base, he still hasn't fully droned up his third. So it looks like he's just going for a big +1 timing. He has an overwhelming amount of roaches. Looking at the unit tab, he has 30 roaches to the 11 of Dark. And DRG is looking to just snowball out of control. Push himself up the ramp. GG gets called, and DRG takes game number 1. GG, well played. DRG able to survive the aggression here from his opponent. Again, Dark was very all-in from the beginning. Was very all-in from the beginning. Going for his own massive Ling Flood, if you remember. Cutting workers at 19. And then he transitioned into cutting workers at 20 and going for some Ling Bane aggression. He was slowly getting into his third, slowly getting into his roaches. But alas, he was just too far behind from initially not doing enough damage with his Ling Flood. It all came down to that first Ling Flood, and it just did not pay off for Dark. Was too far behind from that. Wasn't able to recover. And now DRG, he's up 1-0. He is 1 game away from advancing on to the Grand Finals. Again, a short bracket today. Only 4 major players. I mentioned it earlier. but it's Dark, DRG, Hero, and Classic. 4 players, 2 Protoss, 2 Zergs. We had some other players sprinkled in, but more amateur players. I mean, obviously Home Mono is more of a big name, and that's why we casted Home Mono first. Home Mono versus DRG. Really, it was the closest first series that we had, and it went to the ace match. So again, it made sense that we covered that series to begin with. But now we're getting here into our semifinals, and spawning in the top right hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the best Zerg in all of South Korea, representing CranKy Z Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player going for a 15 hatch into a 15 pool. It is DRG. Here we go. Okay. So this makes a lot of sense on Royal Blood. So Dark is opening up standard. He's going hatch gas pool. Very standard opener from our Zerg player, from our red Zerg player. From our blue Zerg player, this is a 15-15. So this is a lot more powerful on this map. It's a hatch first into a spawning pool into a gas geyser. Or sorry, into a delayed gas geyser. It's basically a gasless opener. You get faster queens with this. You do have delayed gas as a result, so your gas income is very late with this opener, but you don't really need a lot of gas when you're going to be walling off. The goal here for DRG is to go 2 base roach, and on Royal Blood, this natural base, this entryway into the natural is very narrow. It's very narrow, so it's very easy to go 2 base roach or to wall off and to play 2 base anything, whether it's 2 base roach or 2 base spire, 2 base hydra, swarm host, what have you, have whatever quirky build you have, but 2 base play can be easier to pull off on this map. Now DRG is still getting into his gas geyser though. Okay, so it is delayed, but he's still getting into it. He should be skipping link speed. You can see that Dark is ahead in the gas mining, which means that it's typically ill-advised for DRG to go into Ling Bane, because he's going to be late with link speed and late with his Banelings. We'll see how he approaches this. As yeah, a very different opener. Also, the added advantage of this is that you do typically skip lings and you rely on your queens to defend. You can see 0 lings on the way here for DRG. He is not going to have anything out on the map to scout at all other than his overlords, and he does confirm the hatch first. That's all he needs to know. He sees the hatch first and he sees the 3rd base on the way, so he knows that Dark is playing standard. Meanwhile, DRG again getting ready to just wall off here on 2 bases. Queens are being brought forward. 2 more queens on the way. We're droning. We're saturating that gas. And, oh, DRG is getting into link speed. Okay. So regardless, he's still playing 2 base. Like, Dark, he's upper base as a result. And I love this from Dark. This is what's, like, so good about Dark and ZvZ. Obviously, he knows what his opponent's doing. He can see the lack of 3rd base. He can see the wall being thrown down that DRG is playing 2 base, of course. And Dark cancels link speed. He doesn't get his own link speed. He's going into a fast lair because he knows that his opponent should be rushing into roaches. But DRG is link flooding. So there's a lot of mind games going on right now. DRG, he's showing 2 base roach and he is banking up lings in his mineral lines. He has link speed on the way. I mentioned earlier, as I was like kind of analyzing this build, talking about how usually you skip link speed. Usually you do not get link speed with this build, and Dark knows that, and he's being mind game right now. That's why Dark cancelled his own link speed, because he assumed that his opponent wouldn't be going for this. So Dark is about to be caught with his pants down. Now, thankfully Dark has a wall, so he can defend on 2 bases, but it looks like he's going to lose his 3rd. His 3rd should go down, and here we go. The lings are flooding across the map. Link speed is about to kick in for DRG. Finally, it's now being spotted by Dark. But it's too late. There's no Baneling Nest, there's no lings, there's nothing to defend. Dark, he's fully walling off on 2 bases, and he's basically accepting the fact that he's going to be losing his 3rd. Meanwhile, DRG, he ignores the 3rd. He goes straight for the natural. Straight for that Roach Warren as well. This Roach Warren is going to go down. A very high value pickoff here for DRG. Gets the Roach Warren, then he goes for the 3rd. He should be able to get both. So again, really smart play here from DRG. Otherwise, he would have only gotten the third base. Roaches are coming out, but Dark, he cannot hold on to this. He's going to try to, though. We'll see if he can. Right, nah. Roaches come in, but DRG gets the hell out of here. And behind this, DRG is getting his own third. He's droning up, getting into his own roach play. Meanwhile, Dark, with that fast lair, is going for a Spire. So we have a really interesting dichotomy going on right now, where now Dark is knocked down to 2 bases. He lost his Roach Warren, so he has very limited Roach production. And DRG can go for his own Ling Roach all-in. Mutas are on the way. Mutas will help. But will Dark have enough? He has enough for 6 mutas. He has enough gas for 6 mutas. Meanwhile, DRG, looking at his vision, he hasn't seen the Spire, but I love that we have a Hydra Den on the way. He knows that his opponent, forced to place 2-base lair, can only do one of 2 things, make roaches or make mutas, and he's getting ready for the mutas. Like, DRG's playing this so well. He goes in for a scout. He does confirm the Spire. At the same time, Lings go for another surround, and he does cancel the third base again. Dark is playing on the back foot. He's playing from behind. He had to rely so much on these mutas to do anything. But DRG, Queens are on the way. Spores, Hydra upgrades. He sees the mutas ahead of time. He's preparing for them. Meanwhile, I do appreciate that Dark, he's only making enough mutas for map control. Looking at the units tab, Dark, he made 7 mutas. He's not making more. He's not getting into +1 air attack. He's not getting into additional muta production. He's going for +2 range and roach speed. So Dark knows that investing into mass muta isn't really going to work out. He's transitioning into a more roach heavy style. Lings somehow get in. They get a queen. Oh my god. And they scout the Spire. What I mean by that, they scout that there's no upgrade on the way. That we're not investing into multiple mutas or into more mutas. So very important scout by DRG. So he knows that he has to make some Hydras, but not too many. He knows that he has to rely a lot more on roach production instead. And there we go. 16 roaches on the way. DRG reading and scouting Dark so well. DRG up in economy. Has been mining more for longer. Dark finally gets his third base up and running. The mutas come in and they're gonna not get a queen. Oof. This DRG has a bit much, a little bit too much. Now, as we're getting into the Roach v Roach portion of this game, Dark is gonna be up in upgrades. +2 range is gonna be a really big moment here. Oh, for Dark, as he does lose a muta. But it's gonna be a really big moment here for our Red Zerg player. DRG instead is going to be working with 1-1. +2 range is better than +1 carapace. So again, Dark will be ahead when it comes to the quality of his upgrades. +1 carapace really doesn't impact Roach v Roach as much as +2. And here we go. DRG is pushing out. He is up in supply. Roach, Hydra Ravager. Pushing into a concave is difficult, and he does take a bow to the face. But he's pushing on forward, getting on top of the army here of Dark. The mutas, they come in from behind. The staggering of these bows have been looking good here for Dark. But it's still an overwhelming army as DRG is forcing his way through, getting the high ground here, forcing Dark down to the third. The bios have been looking okay here, but it's a numbers game, and Dark, he just, again, was playing from too far behind earlier. Took him too long to get his third base up and running. Evo Chamber almost getting sniped as well. Mutas are being cleaned up. Roach reinforcements are coming in for both players. It's looking close, but it looks like Dark may just barely hold on. But the Ravagers are going down. It's still too much. +1 carapace is denied. And DRG is being forced back. But really, he's just waiting for reinforcements. He's waiting for his wave of roaches to arrive. Dark just lost all of his mutas. He lost the majority of his Ravagers. He's got more like the Ravagers of Dark. That's what's been keeping him in this game. Like the Ravager bars have been looking pretty damn good. They've kept him alive. But can they win him the game, as the Roach Warren itself is looking exposed? Roach Warren is going to go down. GG gets called, and it's just too much. DRG takes the series 2-0, eliminating Dark. Wow, GG, well played. Talk about an upset here. Very well done by DRG. Talking about the series, game 1 was on Dark. If you remember, game 1, Dark was the player that all-in. Dark was the player that just sent everything across the map, going for that 19 drone link flood. Obviously, did not work. Did not pay off in the end for Dark. And here in game number 2, DRG doing a great job at catching Dark off guard, showing one thing but doing something else. Again, DRG, he went for a 15-15 into what was supposed to be 2-base Roach, or 2-base play, and Dark accurately read that, and he skipped his Bailey Nest, he skipped his link speed, was likewise trying to catch up or out-greed his opponent by also going straight into a lair, straight into Roaches as well. Little did he know that DRG did go for a faster gas geyser, faster link speed, and for a link flood of his own, completely catching Dark off guard. Really using like the meta and using what is known about that opener against Dark in the end, going for some mind games, and yeah, really smart opener, really smart build choice by DRG. Did 2-0 Dark in the end. GG, well played. It was a best of 3. DRG moves on to the grand finals.